Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Muhammad Rizwan Khan sent an email asking about the ruling on wiping over the shoes, the socks, or whatever a person wears on his foot after performing wudu. Can this be part of the ritual of wudu? And the answer is yes. In Islam, we're supposed to wash 4 limbs, and that is the face, the arms up till the elbows, wipe over the head, and wash the feet. But Allah Azza wa Jal also gave us another choice, and that is to make things easy. Instead of washing the feet, we can wipe over whatever we're wearing on these feet, providing that it covers the foot. And there are conditions, and among the condition is that you wear the socks or the shoes while you are on the state of purity and remain wearing it. So if I offer wudu for Fajr and I put on my socks and I go and pray, and then I go to work and I answer the call of nature while still wearing my socks, and I want to perform wudu, I can go and do that, but instead of taking off my socks and washing my feet, because I wore them while I was in the state of purity, it is permissible for me to just wipe over the top of them once. This is known as al-masah. And it is possible to do that whether you're wearing shoes that cover the whole foot up till the ankles, or wearing socks, and whether the socks are made of leather or of cotton or of any other fabric, whether it's thick or transparent, whether it is whole or it has some holes in it due to it being worn frequently, all of this is the same ruling. You still can wipe over your socks. Sister Alma sent a question regarding the interruption while performing ghusl. Now we know that in wudu, in ablution, there are 6 pillars. Washing the 4 limbs, that includes wiping the head. The order, it has to be in the same order mentioned in the Quran: the face, then the arms, then the head, then the legs, the feet. And then the 6th pillar is that we should have the sequence. I don't wash my face and then go and answer the phone, open the door, and maybe prepare a quick sandwich and then go back to the toilet and continue. No, it has to be in sequence. Now, with the ghusl, it's a different story, because there is a difference of opinion among scholars. The madhab we follow, which is the Hanbali madhab, states that it's okay if you wash half of your body and a few hours later you wash the other half. This does the job. But this is not the most authentic opinion. The most authentic opinion is that having ghusl is a whole form of worship. It's a unit. And this unit has to be in sequence. So therefore, you cannot have an interruption unless it is for something that is needed, for obtaining water, for example, or for heating the water, or for doing, you're engaged in cleaning some part of your body that consumed a lot of time. In this case, it is permissible, inshallah. As for the ears, she's asking particularly for the ears. She had a shower, a ghusl, and then she got dressed, and then she washed her ears. She did not wash her ears before. To me, this seems to be a very short period of time, and inshallah, it is permissible. But just to be on the safe side, if you have a shower once all over again, that would be better. We have Brother Muhammad from United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Alaikum salam, how are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah. What's your question?
Yeah, I had one question, Sheikh. I had a girlfriend long time. That girlfriend, I was in a relationship with her for a long time. I convinced to come to Muslim, she refused. After that, she went back to his country and she stayed there about 2 years. She got married there. And after that, she divorced with her husband. And she called me, she wants to come back to Dubai, and she wants to marry me, and we agreed to become a Muslim. She allowed me for me to marry her.
She wants what? After she got married? Well, the line is cut. I hope that Brother Muhammad would call us again. Brother Muhammad Ishaq has two questions. He says that during the last 10 days of Ramadan, when people go to the masjid, they make the intention of i'tikaf, seclusion, that they want to perform i'tikaf, but actually they make this intention for the period they want to offer a prayer. So is this allowed? We know that i'tikaf is to seclude yourself in one of the mosques, one of the masjids, for the sake of worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. And the Prophet used to do this, alayhi salatu wasalam, for the whole 10 nights of Ramadan. At the beginning, he started the first 10 nights, and then the middle 10 nights, and then he was told that Laylatul Qadr, the night of decree, is at the last 10 nights of Ramadan, and this was his habit. He used to make i'tikaf in the masjid the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And at one point, he made i'tikaf for 20 nights of Ramadan. And in 1 year, because he saw his wives collaborated to come and offer i'tikaf as well, and each one built herself a small tent or a small dome to sleep over in the masjid, and he said that this is not part of righteousness or seeking Allah's pleasure, so he ordered them to leave, and he himself did not perform i'tikaf, but he performed it afterwards in Shawwal. So from this we know that his sunnah is to have i'tikaf the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Nevertheless, if someone would like to make it less than that, this is possible. Some scholars say that there isn't any time limit for it. So if you intend to make i'tikaf for a minute, for 5 minutes, for an hour, for one prayer, this is valid. And this is the majority. Other scholars say, no, the minimum you can do is a day. But inshallah, knowing Allah's mercy and following the majority of scholars, it so appears that if you intend to make i'tikaf deep down, Allah Azza wa Jal would give you this reward. Brother Mahmoud from Saudi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I'm asked about count the Holy Quran without ablution.
Okay.
But to understand the answer, because Allah, He said in the Holy Quran, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. Please, Sheikh, I want answer.
Inshallah. Inshallah.
Good, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah. Brother Mahmoud is asking about an issue we tackled yesterday, that is touching the Quran without being in the state of ablution. And he quoted a verse from the Quran in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. And the scholars who commented on this ayah, who interpreted this ayah, who wrote in the tafsir of this ayah, said that al-mutahharun here refers to the angels. So the kitab that is honorable and protected and is not touched except by the pured one or the purified one is the preserved tablet, al-lawh al-mahfuz. And this is what the ayah refers to. As for touching the Quran, as I've stated before, the majority say that it is mandatory for you to be in the state of wudu. However, there are scholars who looked into the evidences and found that there aren't any authentic and strong evidence that obligates this. For example, the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ sent to Yemen, and he said that لا يمسه إلا طاهر. The word طاهر itself can refer to a number of things. It can refer to a Muslim in opposition to a mushrik, where Allah says إنما المشركون نجس. It also can refer to a person in his purity in opposition to a person who is in his major impurity, janaba or hayd or nifas. And it can also refer to a person in his minor impurity due to answering the call of nature. So there isn't any strong evidence backing up that it is mandatory for you to touch the Quran while you are in the state of ablution of wudu. Otherwise, you are not allowed to. There isn't any. And therefore, we always tend to be with the side of the majority, in the sense that it's highly recommended, it's highly preferred, and you should follow the majority. However, we cannot say that if a person touches the Quran while he's not in the state of wudu, that he's sinful. Because this is an Islamic ruling, and it has to have strong evidence backing it up, and we don't seem to find such an evidence, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Brother Muhammad Ishaq's second question, he's asking about on the 27th of Ramadan in Witr. He's asking about the dua which a lot of the people recite after concluding the Quran, after they finish and recite the whole Quran. This is known as Khatm al-Quran. What is the ruling on such a dua? First of all, scholars say that there isn't any such an authentic hadith at all referring to dua of Khatm al-Quran. And what used to be printed at the end of the copies of Quran, and it is falsely attributed to Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, this has no basis. And therefore, it is not recommended, it is not part of the sunnah to have this dua of Khatm al-Quran, and we will come to talk about this, but after we take Abu Rudwan from India. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Nice to see you back on the Huda TV.
Jazakallah khair, brother.
I have three questions.
Inshallah.
My first question is, there is some group called Tabligh Jamaat.
Okay.
Yeah, so these people, you have to go every year 4 months outside your home and to preach the Islam and all that. And every month 3 days, and there is 40 days also. Do you know about this? Is there any evidence in Islam or Sunnah in this?
Okay. Second question.
And my second question is about superstition. Is there superstition had any role to play in Islam? Any type of superstition?
Can you give examples?
Like some people, like the cat crossing and
Okay.
night in the evening time, and there are many examples, as you know,
Bad
in Arabic
omens.
and many other traditions also.
Okay. Third question.
My third question is, that now we see many Muslim atrocities and many against Muslims. There are killings and unnecessary things happening against the Muslims. So as a Muslim, what we should do, and we should only sit and pray to Allah Azza wa Jal, or we should do anything else that we should support Muslims like as a part of jihad, and what we should do, yani.
Okay. I will answer the questions,
Okay,
inshallah.
thank you very much.
You're welcome, brother. So, going back to the dua of Khatm al-Quran, it is baseless in Islam. The only incident that is reported to us, and it's authentic, is the doing of the companion of the Prophet ﷺ, Anas ibn Malik. He used to recite the whole Quran, and once he concludes and finishes the Quran, he used to gather all his offspring, wives, and family, and he used to supplicate, and they used to say Ameen. So this is the only thing that we have authentic, and it's about one companion, and it's not in the Salah. What people do at the end of Ramadan, hooking up this dua of Khatm al-Quran with the Quran itself. So when they reach the last chapter, 114, ومن شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس, and then they immediately hook that up with Khatm al-Quran. This is an innovation. Even if it's done in the greatest mosques in the world, this is an innovation. The Prophet didn't do it, ﷺ. The companions didn't do it. And not only that, people who do not understand Arabic, because they are reciting this dua with the same way they used to recite the Quran, people think that this is part of the Quran. And this is serious stuff. Now, people may like this, but it is against the Sunnah, and it is not reported by any of the Salaf that we know. We have 3 questions of Abu Radwan, but let me take Brother Zubair's question from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Brother Zubair.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, I want to be asked with you, what is the, what is saying, ghusl. How you take, somebody told me ghusl is like other, something about the ghusl.
Okay. What do you want to know about it?
And second question is, why you not come? Dr. Zakir Naik, why you not came with you?
Okay, inshallah. Any more questions, brother?
Yeah, Dr. Zakir Naik, I want to, Al-Huda channel is very, very nice. And Allah give you a lot.
Inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Allah. Masalam.
Salam. Brother Juan from India had 3 questions. The first question was about Jama'at al-Tabligh. And he's asking, what do you know about them? Jama'at al-Tabligh is one of the biggest groups of Muslims. And they have a lot of da'wah work. And they are, if I'm not mistaken, originating from Deoband, and they follow the Deobandi sect. They have a set of rules and regulations that governs those who come with them, such as growing the beard, wearing the turban, shortening the thobes, using the miswak, praying the masjid. All of these are good things that most of it follow the sunnah. But they have a number of innovations. Though they are the most generous people, though they are the most kindest and loving and caring people you could ever meet, they're very nice, very humble. But nevertheless, we judge people by the Quran and the Sunnah. Those who are in Arabia, they follow Riyadh al-Salihin, which is one of the best books around. It is advisable for everybody to read from it. Unfortunately, those who are non-Arabs, they follow the book called as Tabligh Nisab, or Faza'il al-A'mal, written by Kandahlawi, if I'm not mistaken. And this book has grave errors in it, fabricated hadiths, weak hadiths, and even some parts of it has shirk, where it tells you to go to a grave and to ask at the grave side. Therefore, if you add this, which is quite major, to the innovations they have, such as dedicating 3 days a month, or going to visitation 2 days a week, or you have to go out with them for 40 days and just go in masjids and travel the land, and you have to every time say what you have done in regards of da'wah, how many people you have managed to pull, and this is called tibyan or tabyin, and you have their 6 fundamental points that you have to follow. All of these are not part of the sunnah. And with all our love and respect to them, this is not the way of the Prophet ﷺ. People are diverting bit by bit from the way of the Prophet ﷺ, and from the way of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them. And we cannot do this as Muslims. We cannot follow our leaders. We cannot follow our scholars. We have to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. So by diverting from this straight path, it is not at all recommended to be associated with them, part of them. Greet them, give them gifts, smile in their faces, but don't go out with them and don't join their jama'ah. Aisha from Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I have a question. As plucking eyebrows is haram.
Okay. Please, Aisha, would
So
you
can
turn
I wax my hands and legs like for
turn off your TV set? I'm hearing myself and I'm hearing you twice.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
My question is, can I wax my hands and legs for my,
Yes.
in front of mihram? Is it allowed?
Yes, it is allowed.
Is it?
Yes.
So many of the hadiths have from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that it's not allowed. Plucking eyebrows is not allowed. What
Only.
about waxing?
Only plucking the eyebrows for women is not allowed. Anything other than her hair is permissible for her to remove.
Okay.
So it is permissible for her to wax her legs and her arms.
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Going back to Abu Radwan from India, his second question was about superstitions. And he's asking, what is it? What does it have to do with Islam? If a person is superstitious and he believes in superstitions, well, this is a breach of Tawheed. It's a breach of your Iman. If you believe that the passing by of a black cat in front of you would ruin your day, this is major shirk. If you believe that this would ruin your day, because what does a black cat have against you? What does a black crow have to do with you? What does going under a ladder affect your day? What does an accident that takes place in front of you have effect on your meeting? So the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that believing in bad omen is shirk. At-tiyaratu shirkun. And this is a feeling that comes into a person. So I may leave my home and I may see something that makes me a little bit held back. Nevertheless, if I continue and do what I was going to do initially, this is a sign that I'm a true believer. But if I retreat and say, well, no, I'm not going to do what I was going to do because it's obvious, it's not my day, it's not my lucky day. So believing in superstitions in such a form can breach your tawheed, can breach your Islam. If you put a rabbit foot in your pocket, or if you believe that this brings you good luck and that brings you bad luck, this is also part of the things that may breach your Islam. His third question we will take inshallah after talking to Brother Abdul Hamid from Al-Imarat. Yes, brother. Turn off the volume in your TV set. I'm hearing myself and I'm hearing you twice.
Yeah, I have two questions, Sheikh. Now, is it okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Sheikh, one thing you said about Tabligh people, they are encouraging people to go on the grave and ask in the grave is not Tablighi people. They don't know that. But they have lots of things which are not okay. I do understand that. And the second question is, the wife, it is said that the wife is made from the rib of her husband. Is it true? And if a wife is divorced, what about her? And if a man has 2, 3 wives, what about that? As Eve was made, Mother Eve was made from the rib of the father Adam.
Yes.
I need some clarification. Somebody asked me about that. If a girl is divorced, she is not made from anybody's rib or what? Thank you very much, Sheikh.
The first question is not clear. What are you asking about Tablighi Jama'at? Okay. Going to Abu Radwan's third question, what is our role in the tribulation that is taking place in different Muslim world? We see Muslims being tortured, being killed, we see famine, we see wars, we see a lot of oppression. So what is our role as individuals? First of all, you have to be realistic. As an individual, can you actually do anything? And you have to weigh the pros and the cons. Can you actually go and fight and defend your brothers? No. You're not trained, and you're not allowed to do this, and you will not allowed to fight without having an Islamic flag and a Muslim ruler that you fight under him. And if there isn't these things, then you should not go, because the harm would be much far greater than the good that you anticipate. Second of all, you're saying that should we only do prayer? And do you think that prayer is something to be taken lightly? No, prayer is the essence of our life. Allah Azza wa Jal told us that those who feel arrogant and would not invoke Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah would throw them in hell. And the Prophet tells us ﷺ, that supplication or an invocation, a dua, is worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal. Therefore, don't look down at dua. Thirdly, you can benefit your brothers with all the means you can. In the sense that if you are financially fit and capable, try to feed the hungry in Somalia. Try to benefit those who are in need anywhere in the world, as long as they're Muslims and they are in need, and you trust that your money would go into safe hands and not into the hands of the wrong people. If you don't have money and you can write and you can be in the media, you can write blogs, you can send emails exposing the atrocities, then go ahead. This is one part of doing it. The least you could do is to make dua and to spread their problems and their calamities among your loved ones, so that they all would share with you, and they will all supplicate at the middle of the night for Allah Azza wa Jal to uplift such calamities. Maryam from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
Assalamu
wa
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sheikh, can you please clarify something for me? I heard that there is more blessing when a woman gives birth to female than male.
I didn't understand.
Is that true?
There's no blessing if what?
If when a woman gives birth to female rather than male, there are more blessings for that family.
No. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. Jazakallah khairan.
Wa jazak, inshallah. Brother Zubair, he was asking about ghusl. And ghusl, as we know it, is what is known as total bath. And it has two ways of doing it. One way is the sunnah way, the other one is the accepted way. But how to do this is inshallah what I'll explain after the break, so stay tuned.
I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this program of great benefit to myself and to all of you, inshallah, to help us, to guide us, to forgive us our sins and our bad deeds, and to bless us in everything that we say and everything that we do, inshallah. In this life, we'll be taken on the Day of Judgment in groups together to paradise. But came down an ayah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. We didn't make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala right after we sin. See, all of us sin. That's a fact of life. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, كُلُّ ابْنِ آدَمَ خَطَّاء وَخَيْرُ الْخَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ. All sons of Adam are sinners. But the best of those wrongdoers and the best of those sinners are those who repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fact is, my dear brothers and sisters, we don't thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough. We don't thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, وَقَلِيلٌ مِنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ, and only a few of my servants are thankful. The blessing of being people who say, La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah is such a huge blessing. Billions of people in this world don't have this blessing. So if you're a person who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the blessing of Islam, hold on to it tight. Hold on to it tight and say Alhamdulillah.
The entire staff at Huda would like to wish you a wonderful and blessed Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Ghusl, as we mentioned before the break, is divided into two types. Ghusl that complies and follows the sunnah, and an accepted ghusl. The ghusl that complies with the sunnah, as described by the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, is first of all to wash your private parts, then clean your hands, then offer wudu as if you're normal wudu, while delaying washing the feet. So after you wipe over your head, pour 3 scoops of water over your hair so that you ensure that the water reaches the skull, and then pour water over the right areas of your body, and then over the left areas of your body, and then wash your feet. By this, you've concluded your ghusl, and you've washed every single bit of your body in accordance to the sunnah. The accepted type of ghusl is to dip yourself in a river or in the ocean or in a lake, a big lake, while turning the water in your mouth and rinsing your nose. That's it. So if you stand under the shower, for example, this does the job, providing that the water reaches all of your body and you turn the water in your mouth and you rinse your nose. As for the question regarding Dr. Zakir's appearance on Huda, Dr. Zakir is a man with a lot of things on his plate. He has a lot in his basket. And may Allah Azza wa Jal grant him health and wealth and make him steadfast on Iman. He's a very busy man, but I believe that they are having reruns of his shows on Huda. So pray for him and pray for me as well. Abdul Hamid from Al-Imarat, he asked a question about tabligh, but it wasn't a question, it was a statement that he knows that there are this and that. So I failed to understand his point. And then he says about the woman being created from the rib of her husband. This is an indication to the hadith that is referring only to Adam and Eve. So when Adam was created at first, Allah created Adam, and then He created Eve from his rib. Not that if you have 2 wives, they were created from your own rib. They break your rib, maybe, but they're not created from your own ribs. It is Eve, Hawa, peace be upon her, and Adam, who was created from his rib. Maryam, she is saying that, is it true that there is a difference between when you have a baby boy or a baby girl? Is there more blessing in one over the other? And there isn't any such a thing in Islam. We know that the Prophet ﷺ, when he died, he had Fatima, may Allah be pleased with her. And before her, he had 3 daughters, Ruqayya, Kulthum, and Zainab. So the Prophet had 4 daughters, and he did not have a boy or a son to grow up and be with him. So having girls is a blessing from Allah by far, because the Prophet had girls, alayhi salatu wasalam. Not only that, the Prophet told us that if a person has 3 girls and he takes care of them and he upbrings them Islamically and then gives them the love and compassion and marry them off to someone who's righteous and practicing, they will be his shield from hell. So a woman stood up, or someone stood up and said, okay, what about if I had 2 girls? The Prophet said, even if you have 2 girls. The companion said, by Allah, we reckon that if we told him, what about if one has one girl, that the Prophet would say, Islam, that she also would be your shield from hell. Boys are also a blessing. So if you're blessed with a boy or with a girl, there is no preference. It is all the choice of Allah Azza wa Jal, and Allah knows best. Sister Nadia from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, Sheikh, yesterday I asked you about traveling for my brother to Switzerland. And one thing is still confusing, as you told that he is allowed to fast after coming back, and he is allowed to delay his Zuhr prayer till Asr. But his stay is there for 27 days. Still he is in Qasr ruling, or just mention how many maximum days are for Qasr ruling. Like some tell 3 days and some are telling 15 days. So what is the exact days for the Qasr ruling? And if he is out of Qasr, then what should he do for his Zuhr prayer if he is in training? Thanks for answering.
You're welcome, sister.
Thank you very much.
Sister Nadia's question is related to last episode, last program's question. She had a number of questions about her brother traveling to Switzerland. And she just wanted to clarify that her brother is staying there for 27 days. And I remember that. This doesn't change anything. Your brother lives in Saudi Arabia, I presume. So if people call his house, is so-and-so there, what would the answer be? They would tell them, they would tell the caller, no, he's not here. He's traveling to Switzerland. So even if he stays there for 27 days, in Islam, it is not limited to a set of days so that we could say that he's a traveler or not. You could travel, and your travel could be a couple of months, and you still have the right to break your fast, and you still have the right to shorten and to combine prayers as well. Therefore, these 27 days, we don't have an authentic opinion that states that if you stay or intend to stay more than 4 days, you have to complete your prayer. There isn't any authentic thing as such. And the most authentic opinion is that as long as you're traveling, and as a man, he's not in the vicinity of a masjid, then he is entitled to shorten the prayer, combine the prayer if needed, and not to fast the month of Ramadan. But if he does, if he fasts the month of Ramadan because he doesn't want to miss these blessed days and nights, and he doesn't want to make up for these days when he comes back, this is up to him, inshallah. I think we have Sister Suha from KSA, from Saudi. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. What will be the age of people in Jannah?
Okay.
For example, if an old person dies, does he remain old in Jannah?
Okay, I will answer the question. Any more questions?
No, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Sister Suha asks about the age of people in Jannah, and if a person dies, would he be in the same age in the Jannah? The answer is no. The Prophet ﷺ, in one authentic hadith, was asked the same question, but in a different form. An old woman came to him and said, O Prophet of Allah, pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that I enter Jannah. And the Prophet ﷺ said that no old woman would be admitted in Jannah. And the woman started to cry, and the Prophet said, listen to me. No old woman would be admitted to enter Jannah because they will all become young and healthy. And if I'm not mistaken, the average age of everyone in Jannah is 33 years of age. This is their age, women and men, which is the prime of their strength and of their youth. Therefore, if a person dies and he's 70 or 80 years old of age, he would not be resurrected being 70 or 80 years of age. He would be 33 years with the grace of Allah. And likewise, in some narrations, in some opinion of scholars, the children, the Muslim children who die at a young age, Allah Azza wa Jal would bless them to be 33 years of age so that their parents who lost them when they were young enjoy seeing them at the age of maturity at the day or on the day of judgment in paradise. We have an email from Double A, and he says, I was told that the Prophet ﷺ never did the adhan when his children were born. So he's asking about giving the adhan for a newborn child. Is it part of the sunnah or not? This is an issue of dispute among scholars. Some scholars say that it is recommended to give adhan in the right ear of the child when he is born, so that the first thing he hears is the adhan, the testament of, the statement of Tawheed and the words of the adhan. And some also go further and say it's recommended to give iqamah in the left ear. And the most authentic opinion of scholars is that we cannot do such a thing without having strong and authentic hadith supporting it. And all the hadiths that refer to such an opinion, they are all not strong, and they are extremely weak. And that is why scholars say that we cannot apply it because it is not part of the sunnah. Mani from Saudi Arabia.
Yes. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh Ramzan Mubarak.
Wa alaikum assalam. Mubarak to you too as well.
I want to ask one question. My son, he just not finished his MS in America. He's searching for the job. So I want you to tell me any surah or to recite in this blessed month, so I can get help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make it easy to be my son.
Inshallah, I will do that. Inshallah.
And please pray for my son for his success, and to all of them, whoever finished his MS.
I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal that all those who are unemployed would find a suitable job with the grace of Allah.
I desperately want to know to recite any dua, surah, to make it easier to my son. So please, tell me now itself.
I will, inshallah, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Mani is asking about a supplication that her son could make, or a prayer that his son could offer so that he would find a job. A lot of similar questions come, and they all revolve around the same topic. Sheikh, I could not find a proper husband. No one is proposing. Is there any dua? Is there any prayer? Sheikh, my husband wants to get married to another woman. Is there any prayer, any dua? People think that there is a prescribed dua for each and every thing we do. And this is not true. There is a general dua. Whenever there's a calamity, whenever there's a tribulation, whenever there is a need, you just simply ask Allah to do this. So if my wrist hurts, there isn't any prescribed dua that I could say that, oh Allah, do this and that. There is general dua saying, oh Allah, cure my illness. Oh Allah, cure my wrist. Oh Allah, make my wrist go back to its normal condition. But there isn't a specific dua or prayer or surah that you recite and Allah would give you a husband, or Allah Azza wa Jal would give your daughter a husband, or would give your son a wife. No, there are general dua. So for any job seeker, first of all, you have to believe 100% that the provider is Allah. You have to believe that Allah Azza wa Jal not only provides for humans, Allah provides for every single creature in this nut world, in this universe. So if Allah Azza wa Jal nourishes the birds that leaves its nest in the early morning with empty stomachs, and they come back at the end of the day with full stomachs, and they are birds, they're beasts, don't you think that Allah Azza wa Jal would care more about you? Definitely He would. But you have to show Him humility. You have to show Him submissiveness. You have to humble yourself to Him. You have to call Him at the times that we know that He answers the calls most, such as in the last third of the night, between adhan and the iqamah of every prayer, just before breaking your fast, and so on. You have to go and offer Umrah if you're close to Mecca and supplicate to Allah. No one could provide you with a job except Him. So ask Him and He will be there for you. Brother Ghazi from Saudi Arabia. Brother Ghazi.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I purchased a book from Jeddah Airport.
Okay.
Which is called Grave, Punishment and Blessings.
Okay.
Written by Hussein Al-Awaisha.
Okay.
Published by International Islamic Public House.
And is this an advertisement for the book or is it a question?
The question, I mean, in the same book, in chapter 6, is mentioned that prophets are alive in the grave.
Okay, true.
So, is it authentic hadith? It is mentioned, the reference is given as class as Sahih by Sheikh Albani.
Okay, I will answer your question. Any more questions?
No, sir. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, bro. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you.
Brother Ghazi from Saudi is asking about a book. I personally did not have a look at this book, but it was written by Hussein Al-Awaisha, and his publications, I've read few of them. They are very nice and very close to the heart, and he always uses authentic hadith, especially those authenticated by Sheikh Al-Albani and other students of knowledge. So he's saying that he is saying in the book, in the chapter that he named, that the prophets are alive in their graves. And this is true. But is their life in their graves as we live at the moment? Meaning, do they eat, drink, answer the call of nature, do hygienes and wash and etc.? Or is it a different life altogether? This is a very important and crucial point, because we as Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we believe that there are three stages in this world. The life we're living in, and then there's a second stage which is known as Al-Barzakh, and then there is the third stage which is the hereafter, and which is for eternity, either in hell or in paradise. May Allah make all of us among those who are in paradise. So after people die, they live in this middle stage, which is called Barzakh. And they live a life different than ours. Now, any person who says that the Prophet did not die is insane. He's not a Muslim. Because Allah stated that he died. And Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, stated that he's dead when he came and found him dying. And Umar radiallahu anhu was shouting and saying that anyone who says that he died, I'm going to chop his hands and legs. So he said and came that whoever worships Allah, Allah is alive and does not die. But whoever worships Muhammad, Muhammad is dead. May Allah be pleased with him. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Therefore he's dead. Now, they are alive in their graves, a life that we do not know of. They transport, they go and move from one location to the other without our knowledge. We know that they have a connection between their graves and between paradise. Other than that, we do not have any authentic opinion to support it. Like those who claim that the Prophet ﷺ is everywhere. This is insane. There is no evidence backing this up. Those who claim that he's Hadar Nadar, and that he has control over the universe, and that he does this and does that, and that he goes at the Mawlid, where people gather for celebrating his birthday, and he blesses those who are there, he blesses the food, he blesses the drinks, and all of this is nonsense. This is ridiculing the Prophet ﷺ, because such a thing would have been noted down in the Quran or in the authentic Sunnah, and everybody knew it. To believe that he's alive and that you can go to his grave and shake hands with him, I've heard someone saying that if you pray on the Prophet ﷺ 500 times a day, you will not die until you see him alive. And one of their so-called scholars said that I went and visited the grave in Medina, and when I went there, a hand came out to me. It was the hand of the Prophet ﷺ. So I shook him, shook his hands, and I gave him the Pledge of Allegiance. Subhanallah, what nonsense is this? If he shakes hands with you, ya akhi, pull him out. If he's alive, let him come out and solve our problems in this life. We love our Prophet ﷺ. We would give our lives, our wives, our children for his safety and sake, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but we would not go and exceed the limit that he had set for himself and the limit that Allah had set for him. To exaggerate in forms that are close to worshipping him, this is un-Islamic. Ya akhi, if you love the Prophet ﷺ, follow the Quran and the Sunnah. But don't follow what these superstitions they throw at you, and they fabricate a new religion that is not related. He is alive in his grave, yes he is. But it is not like our life, and it is not a life of support. So we do not go to his grave and say, oh Prophet, you know, I had a discussion with my wife and now we're not talking anymore. Can you do something? A'udhu billah, this is shirk. You're calling the Prophet ﷺ, this is shirk. But his life is definitely complete life, different than our life, and he does not communicate with us. He does not know what's happening to us. Only thing that he knows is that Allah Azza wa Jal has appointed an angel who would give salam. Whoever gives salam from us, he would convey the salam to the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Ruqayya from Saudi, I apologize for keeping you waiting. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Asim.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Ramadan Mubarak to you and to all members of Huda TV.
Ameen, Jazakallah khair.
Please, Sheikh, I want if I will have a personal talk with you after the program.
Okay, inshallah, but I don't know, immediately after the program is over, give us a call and I'll ask the brothers to give you my mobile number, inshallah.
Inshallah, thank you, Sheikh.
You're welcome, sir. Uzizaki, hayyakum Allah. I don't know if we have enough time to go to the following question. Safiya is asking about her elder brother who had a massive heart attack, and he had multiple heart vessels completely blocked and removed, and by the grace of Allah he got a second life. Yet he is not feeling remorse. He's not repenting to Allah Azza wa Jal after this new life. So what is the best way to advise him? Well, this is an issue. Those whom Allah Azza wa Jal favor would open their hearts to repentance, would open their hearts to ask for forgiveness and to feel remorse. Those who are doomed, because Allah Azza wa Jal knows from them that they don't want to progress, they don't want to seek for forgiveness, such people are or would usually not repent to Allah Azza wa Jal. So for you, sister, you have to keep on reminding him of Allah. You have to keep on not directly reminding him, don't do this, you have to do that, because people sometimes are arrogant. They would not accept this, especially from someone who's young. But try to all the time bring up a discussion showing him how beautiful Allah is, how generous Allah is, how merciful Allah is, how great subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more he loves Allah, he knows Allah, the more susceptible he would be to listen to you and accept what you have to say. Not only that, give him also examples of people who repented and how their lives changed and transformed. And also of people who refused to repent and died on what they were doing. Not again in a direct way. And try to bring up a discussion between you and him. Maybe this inshallah would cause him to go back to his senses and repent to Allah. Last question is Brother Muhammad. He's asking about having the Quran in his PDA or on his mobile phone. Whether it's an application or it's an MP3. So what's the ruling on taking it to the toilet when answering the call of nature? The answer is, this is permissible. Even if you have the whole Quran in your mobile, once you turn it off, it is not there. It's only electronics and character that is not comprehensible. Only when you turn it on that it appears. And therefore, it does not take the same role and status of the Quran. and hence you can go into the bathroom, you can answer the call of nature while it is with you or on you. And he asks another question, is it permissible to use the miswak toothpaste and during ihram? The answer is yes. There is nothing wrong, inshallah, in doing that, because it's not a form of perfume that you wear, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate